Alright everyone, the brand new exotic armour introduced in Season of the Splicer is finally here, and quite frankly, each and every one of them are completely broken. Boots of the Assembler is the Warlock offering, and at first glance it's nothing special, but just you wait and see what I've cooked up for you today. We've got infinite rifts, buffs, boosts, buffs, stasis, boosts, rifts and hot dogs, so if that's what you want, you're in the right place. Subscribe as we close in on 722,000 subs, help us hit 7,000 likes today, and finally, let's get into it. Boots of the Assembler are the brand new Warlock exotics introduced this season. You can obtain them from completing Legend or Master Lost sectors when exotic leg armour is the reward. Blessing of Order is the exotic perk, whereby standing in a rift creates noble seekers which seek out allies who are not in a rift to either heal them or buff them if you are using a healing or empowering rift. Each time a noble seeker finds one of your allies, the duration of your rift is briefly extended whilst you are standing in it. Casting a rift will instantly spawn these noble seekers, with the amount varying depending on how many players are on your fire team. These will aggressively track allies within a decent range, and each ally found will grant the extended rift buff for 5 seconds and can max out at 10 seconds. This delays your rift countdown time whilst active, all the while you recharge your rift ability too. The seekers spawn periodically throughout the duration of your rift as long as you are stood inside it. The buff provided by the Blessing of Order for allies is a 35% buff, effectively a roaming Ward of Dawn Titan bubble on tap. It's pretty nuts, but it gets even better when you pair it with Lumina. Now this exotic combo reminds me of its sister version with the Fawn and Necrotic Grips, because the synergy of Lumina and Boots of the Assembler is just so potent. You know full well that I've built the ever living out of this one. Lumina is an exotic kinetic hand cannon and has generally been underrated since it was introduced, but it feels really good since it became a 140 RPM hand cannon, so don't sleep on it. Plus it's spiky too, so yeah, don't sleep on it, it'll probably hurt. Surprisingly too, it has noble rounds just by coincidence. Kills with this weapon leave behind remnants. Absorbing a remnant converts your next hip fired shot into an ally seeking noble round and partially refills the magazine. If you've got the catalyst, you'll get 2 noble rounds per kill thanks to the Resonant Virtue perk. These noble rounds grant the Blessing of Sky perk, which heal allies and grant both of you and allies a weapon damage boost for a short duration. This perk lasts for 10 seconds and can be refilled by shooting further noble rounds when available. This too is a 35% damage boost and is just massively underrated in all types of activities. It allows for 2 taps in PvP and incredible damage potential at all levels in PvE. The thing is that standing in a Boots of the Assembler rift with Lumina, you will and can self-proc noble rounds, and you can get the full 5x stack of noble rounds if the noble seekers don't have any nearby allies to find. Effectively, you can start a PvP match, cast a rift and have 5 noble rounds in an instant plus empowered allies to just sweep by your opponents. In trials, I don't even want to know how good this will be. But in PvE activities, we can build into this to allow for back-to-back rifts with constant ability uptime with incredible buffs and extreme survivability. So let's take a look at the mods and setup you'll need for this. You could pull this off in any subclass to be honest, but Stasis is the flavour of the month, so we'll be starting with the Shadebinder. The Frost Pulse aspect will generate a freezing shockwave to freeze nearby combatants when casting your rift, and Ice Flare bolts will track to nearby targets after shattering a frozen target. The Whisper of Refraction is an ideal fragment to use with these, as defeating slowed or frozen combatants will grant class ability energy. Whisper of Chains will grant you damage resistance when nearby to frozen targets or stasis crystals, and the Whisper of Torment can boost your Cold Snap grenade ability regen. Whisper of Hedrons is last up for a damage boost on freezing targets in case we get out of sync with Lumina. You can pick either rift to work with this build, but I'd personally go with the Healing Rift in PvE and the Empowering Rift in the Crucible. This sets us up to get rifts back fairly quickly, but with some further mods we can get them back even quicker, boost super regen and get a further damage reduction thanks to the new Elemental Well mods. Double Perpetuation mods will grant class ability energy when using your class ability, and when paired with Dynamo it'll also grant super energy too. Bolstering Detonation and Focusing Strike will grant class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade or melee ability respectively. A high recovery stat will definitely help out, and you can use recovery mods to boost this if required. Lastly, we've got 2 of the new Elemental Well mods from Season of the Splicer. Reaping Wellmaker is perfect for this build, as after activating your class ability, your next weapon final blow will spawn a Void Elemental Well. Collecting this Void Well, as it doesn't match our subclass here, will grant energy to our lowest recharged ability, but when combined with the new mod Well of Tenacity, you will take reduced damage from combatants for a short time too. This lasts for 10 seconds, and as you'll be using back-to-back rifts, you can spawn these wells near infinitely too using any weapon. Speaking of weapons, we're using the newly refurbished Occluded Finality for its high aggressive frame, allowing for one-shot body shots in PvP and high damage output everywhere else. It's also my baby revoker roll with max range due to Iron Reach and mulligan to return ammo on missed shots. We've also got the returning Eternity's Edge Warlock specific sword. It's now a vortex frame much like the Falling Guillotine, but it's solar with a fresh and surrounded roll for any close quarters combat or boss damage situations. Ultimately, this build will give you infinite rifts, healing and damage buffs using the new exotic boots and an exotic hand cannon that you'll barely have to reload. You can even use the Overload hand cannon mod for endgame activities, making it a truly potent build everywhere. It offers up a totally unique and different playstyle, which is just the kind I like and you've come to know and love here on the channel. You'll be near on invincible thanks to stasis shutting down opponents, whilst you constantly buff yourself and allies to do the dirty work. If there's any downtime, you can lean on your melee and grenades to boost your rift cooldown time to start the whole process again. I hope you enjoyed this quick build, a new take on an old exotic refreshed thanks to this crazy exotic armour. If you did, then a like below will help us hit our goal of 7,000 likes today, and also please subscribe too. I'll leave some extended gameplay here at the end for you to view if you wish, but that's it for this one though, so on that and as always, thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you next time.
Will endure as many casualties as necessary to keep them